Hey,
It's mummy.
okay, you're making it weird already. Okay, welcome to the Creative Escapade podcast. This is episode 1 of this new podcast I'm trying out. It's a podcast about creative people and how they find meaning in their life, and what through creativity and what they've done and what they're doing, and how did they get there. So I've got my mum on the podcast.
Hi.
Do you want to? She does more than just mother me, actually. So would you like to introduce yourself and what sort of stuff you do?
Okay, so I'm Della, as well as mum, to my beautiful firstborn. # proud.
Oh no. Oh yeah, I'm Joel. I'm not sure if I mentioned that.
And yeah, I guess I am a mum, but I'm a musician. And yeah, it's taken me a little while to get on with it, but I'm just kind of giving it a crack.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's really cool. So yeah, I hope to feature guests with like-minded people like you who are really passionate about their creative endeavors and really want to take that on and have it as a big part of their lives. And to be honest, I just want to pick your brain and other people's brain like that as well. So
Yeah, oh look, obviously it's taken me a bit longer than I wanted as far as getting this all going, but life kind of got in the way a bit for me, and people like you came along, and I don't know, it's hard, it took the focus away a little bit, but I've always sung in the background and gigged, but I guess the whole songwriting and recording stuff, it was just something that was just burning inside me, and it just got to a point where I just needed to release it, I guess. So I just thought, I don't want to go to my grave thinking, why didn't I ever give this a crack? So here I am.
yeah, I was going to ask, you've been singing for years, I've known, but it was only sort of recent times that you started writing and getting that along. Was there anything specific that held you back?
Probably confidence, fear.
Okay. So singing at live pubs and in front of tons of people every night was fine. It was just getting your own stuff
Yeah,
out there as a
I
challenge?
guess so. Yes, I guess. I mean, for me, doing anything, I guess I have always lacked confidence. So even when I started singing, my singing teacher at the time literally dragged me onto a stage with her to do backing vocals, and all I can remember of that first gig was the whole thing was such an amazing adrenaline rush that I don't even remember singing, and I remember just trying to keep upright because my knees were shaking so much I thought I was going to fall over. So so everything in that regard, I guess I've struggled with nerves and confidence, and so I guess it's taken me a little longer, but I sang through high school in the productions, and then, when I moved to Melbourne, took lessons and got shoved into a band and thought, I'll only ever do backing. I'm never going to get out and do lead. That would just be way too scary. And just, again, kind of fell into that when I had to. And, and I guess just the whole writing thing, I just thought, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I was really, would love to have played the guitar, but just found that quite difficult. But again, now it's just like, I hate the guitar, but I will continue to practice it and get better. And, you have shining little moments when you go, wow, I can do that. And I can, compliment myself rather than having to get somebody else. It's nice to be able to sit at home and be able to play and, play for myself and sing, with my own backing rather than having to rely on someone else, because that just drove me nuts. But, it's all been a challenge, and I guess, with the songwriting, you're putting yourself out there and laying your cards bare, and that's a scary thing to do too. So as far as doing that, and also, just as you get older, I guess you've got more to say. And, I think if I'd started songwriting when I was around 17, 18, I don't know, I wouldn't have had as much to say. It would have all just been angsty stuff, angsty kid stuff.
Right.
Whereas now I feel like I've got more to offer anyway. So, I just discovered that, actually I can write, I just didn't think I could, but yeah.
Okay, cool. It sort of sounds like if you started with backing, felt like you got really, really good at that, then went on to lead, then went really, really good at that. Is it a matter of you got comfortable and just wanted more every time?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, life is a bit like that, even with your work. You get to a point where it's like, well, I'm really in my comfort zone now, and to grow, I need to actually just jump off a cliff again and do something completely scary again. So... it was very much like that, just step by step. I don't think I'm a person that just kind of throws themselves neck deep into something. I have to kind of feel the water, and you know what I'm like getting into the swimming pool. It takes me 15 minutes just to get wet. I have to do it gradually. So, and not everybody's like that. Some people are just like, yeah, I'm going for it, bang. And I admire their confidence, but yeah, I'm not quite like that.
Okay. Well, especially around the house and just the stuff you're doing, it seems like you're taking on a lot of new things all at once. Would you see it like that, or do you think you're still taking it step by step? Because a lot of new stuff has come in.
As far as writing, do you mean? Or?
Yeah, just like songs coming along, music videos left and right.
Yeah.
Like stuff that I didn't know about till it was finished.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my fault, but...
Well, yes, could be. If you came out of your room a bit more.
Well, I've got my own creative endeavours too, Mum.
I know, darling, I know. There is a lot going on now. I found that, once I jumped on that train of releasing a single, it is like a train you jump on, and it's like... okay, I'm on this journey now and I have to keep going, which means, producing more music and putting out another one, and all of a sudden you're on this little thing that it's like, oh gosh, I've just got to ride that now, and it has kind of ramped up, but, I guess I feel... But at the same time, it is still a process, and there are days where I go, oh, this is all too much and it's all too overwhelming. But then you just kind of go, you just, calm your farm and go, well, I don't have to complete all this in a day, or, you just kind of got to pull yourself back and go, I'll do this when I'm ready. And if the single doesn't get out for another month, the world's not going to end. People aren't going to, jump off a cliff because it's, oh my God, Della hasn't released a single. So
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Della Harris is never stopping. It's going to keep going on forever.
I hope so, for as long as I can keep it up. But I am incredibly grateful for the fact that I am, the age I am now, and I'm still out there doing stuff, and still getting cover band gigs, bizarrely. Not as many as I used to, but, just still being able to do this, because I always sort of thought, oh, well, it'll get to a point where the phone will stop ringing and I'll just take a step back and that'll be it. But I'm blown away that I'm actually more successful now than I ever have been, and so I'm just going to ride that wave and hope it continues for as long as it continues.
Yeah, so what were the steps leading up to you making your own stuff? Because I've heard all sorts of names like Groove Juice and the Frock Tops, and I know you've had a long history of the cover band stuff, but how much of it have you gone through over the...
I've been in different cover bands. Oh gosh, I guess it would span 30 odd years. Right. And it's been fantastic. I've been in cover bands that have taken me, to Alice Springs, the Gold Coast, Thailand, Tasmania. I've been, so lucky to go all over the place in big cover bands, small cover bands, and in all kinds of Groove Juice was a fun dress-up thing. Frock Tops is a funny little dress-up choreographed thing. I still get to do weddings. So, yes, very long history of doing other people's music. And, when you kids were really little, it was fantastic. I could, leave you crying and sooking with your father on a Saturday night and go out and have fun.
Well, you still do.
I still do leave you crying and sooking.
Thanks. Much appreciated.
But, I mean, I guess, I did end up meeting a guy called Clive Young, who because you went to kinder with his son.
Charlie Young.
Yes,
Charlie
you
Young,
did.
if you're listening.
Yes, and hi
hello.
to Clive. I used to see Clive probably once a year at our Christmas get together, and we'd have a few drinks and go, we should write together. Yeah. And then, and I'd always go home thinking, I'd really love to write with him, but I'd be really crap at it, and he's really good at it. And
lots of memorable moments of those Christmas get-togethers. Sorry, go on. Creative podcast.
I know you're thinking of the year that the four mothers fell into the Christmas tree because we were all so drunk. That was very funny. Yes, but so I would always go home afterwards thinking I really would love to write with Clive, but I'll be hopeless, and he's good, and I don't. I was too scared to approach him, and he would never, sort of contact me after that. So I just thought, it's just the drink talking. And then we'd meet up again, and he'd be like, we should write. And I'd be like, yeah, we should. And then I'd be inside going, no, it's never going to happen. Anyway, many years later, and I'm talking, it probably took us a good 10 plus years of that banter once or twice a year. And we connected on Facebook one night. It took me a very long time to get onto Facebook. I just thought, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. And then the lovely Rob Powell, who is my wonderful guitar player and also co-writer now. We've written a few songs together.
Co-housemate as well.
And co-housemate. He lived with us for a while.
Robbo in the garage.
Yep. He said to me, you need to be on Facebook. It's a great way to connect, blah, blah, blah. So he ended up doing my whole profile and everything for me and whacking me up there. And I knew it was there, and I just kind of went, for about 2 months and just had it sitting there, and then got curious and realised, yes, actually, I then got offered a few gigs through Facebook, and I thought, oh, wow, actually this is a good tool. Okay.
Yeah, it sucks you in.
It does. So, and then one night I was on it, and Clive and I started chatting on it, and by the end of the night had started writing a song on it. So, and the rest is history, really. He sort of, really helped me kind of get on that journey and work out what sort of genre that, suited my kind of stuff, and which obviously is the country music genre. Yeah. Because I like to tell stories in my writing. So, and also I think the country music genre is a little bit more forgiving as far as age, etc. Rather than the pop scene where you need to be about 14. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all panned out. But we just sort of started writing, thinking, oh well, we'll write for other people. We'll just pitch our songs, but obviously the songs that we were writing were very personal to me. So I said to him one day, look, I'm going to do them myself. And he was like, oh, it's going to be hard, and you won't get a record deal, and you'll get rejected here, there and everywhere because of your age and all this sort of stuff. And I said, yeah, I know the reality, but they're my songs, they're my stories, and I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. I'm not in it to get a big record deal and be rich and famous. I just need to do it for me. And he's like, okay. So off I went on the journey, and it's been, the response to my stuff has been, overwhelming and amazing and wonderful.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask on that as well. It's never been about the record labels or making it big. And it still is just about expressing the stories you want to tell.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's something in that of being authentic in that regard that makes it, more accessible to people, or I don't know, they just seem to have embraced it, maybe because the stuff is real and I'm just a normal person going about their everyday life. But as I said, just deciding to give it a go anyway, regardless of all the setbacks and all the, the voices. And I mean, nobody battles with the voices in their head more than I do.
You've got no excuse, everybody listening. No matter how old you are, no matter who's down your back, you just got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I do have days where I do have to just, walk up to the coffee shop, grab a coffee and just go, it's all good, just don't put too much importance on it. Just go with the flow and see what happens, because, like I said, you can wind yourself up with the voices in the head. And, I've had many a day where I just go, oh, who do I think I am? People must think I'm ridiculous, all that sort of stuff. And then I just think, oh, who cares? I'm just, like I said, just expressing myself the way I know how. And, for me, it was a real need thing rather than I just want to do it or whatever. I just need to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. You were the perfect first guest for this podcast. You're encapsulating sort of all the thoughts around what I wanted to explore. Like, it's not that you want to do it; it's you need to do it. Otherwise, I feel like I would drop dead if I wasn't able to express creatively. And I feel like I've very much gotten that from you.
Yeah, totally. Yes. I look at you sometimes and go, yeah, you poor tortured soul. You're just like your mother.
No. Dad did say to me the other day, he's like, wow, you're really not like me at all. I'm like, in some respects, yes, but I do take from both of you.
Yes. Yeah, no, Dad's a different cat altogether.
Yeah, I wanted to take it back to the Facebook thing very quickly because I thought that was an interesting point, how as soon as you got onto Facebook, you found work through there. And especially for me and people like me, we find pretty much all of our work online and through Facebook groups and just all over that. How did you build up a reputation back in the day when there wasn't Facebook or the internet to connect everyone at a moment's notice?
Yeah.
What was the process?
That's interesting, actually, because it was a lot tougher. So, when I would get a gig, I would have to create like a poster. We'd create a poster, and I mean, you see some amazing looking posters out there, but no, ours were like photocopies of photos on black and white, A4, and we would print a whole stack off. We'd each take a picture of it to our workplace and run off a sneaky 100 and between us, and then we would literally just pound the pavement. We would put them up everywhere. We would letterbox drop. I'm trying to think how else we did it. There used to be, there probably still is, magazines like Beat Magazine and a few things like that. We would put our free ads in that. You used to be able to put little ads in the Sun, I think it was, that would have a gig guide. And just, as much word of mouth. I used to do a lot of ringing up of people going, hey, we've got this gig coming up. It was really hard work, and now you can just go, bang, and it goes off to, this realm of people, and it's like, oh my God, this is so much easier. And it's actually, some of my friends are still not on Facebook, and it's like, oh, it's so inconvenient that you're not on there because I have to like ring you or message you separately. And
so now you're that person that you were saying you were not wanting to get onto Facebook.
Yeah, I really resist. I know I resisted it, and mainly because you see some people can really struggle with social media, and I think there is that that concerns me for all of you, I guess, you younger generation, that your life is laid bare on social media all the time,
privacy doesn't exist.
It doesn't
anymore.
exist.
No.
Whereas back in my day, I could do something really stupid, but, that moment would pass. The people that saw it or heard it or whatever,
Yeah.
you were the only ones that you had to deal with it with. You didn't have then 50,000 odd people, having their say as well. And
I guess that's the thing. If you're a dickhead, you will be exposed.
Correct, yeah.
So
but, back in my
nice.
day, you could be a dickhead for one night. That night's over. The next day is a new day. And like I said, half the population doesn't even know it happened. Okay. Whereas now everybody knows it happens.
Thanks for the life advice, Mum.
Well, and also I think, there's this massive FOMO thing that now happens with people because they see other stuff going on online, and you just look at it and go, oh, well, why wasn't I invited to that party? Or, oh, I would have liked to have gone out to that dinner. Or, and there's a lot of, brain stuff that goes on then, like, I think it can make you feel incredibly insecure at times about your relationships with people, whereas I guess back in my day, you would catch up with your nearest and dearest for a coffee, or you would pick up the phone and you would have a real conversation. And it just concerns me a bit. I find even in the workplace now, because yes, even though I do music and I'm a mum, I still have to work for a living. And I just find the younger generation now, I can be sitting from here to there away, or literally from you to me away, and the person will send me an email rather than actually just get up and speak to me. And I just find that extraordinary. It's like you can't even – people struggle to have a face-to-face conversation.
It's a very, very new thing. Like, we're not used to communicating that way at all. And I think that plays a big part in it as well.
It's very sad. Which is why we need to go out and have coffees and stuff to actually connect face to face.
That's why we need to sit in lounge rooms and record podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. Look, it's been a struggle to actually stare you in the face, but I'm getting used to it. Because I'm used to you texting me from upstairs to downstairs.
I talk to you all the time. What are you talking about? We get coffee.
We do get coffee, and it's a nice way to connect.
All right. Back on topic.
Yes. Did I answer the question?
What was the question?
Getting work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, it is so much easier, I must say.
Oh, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah. And I must say that I try to just use social media for that only, for that sort of, I don't feel it's my place to put up photos of my kids and stuff, hashtag proud, hashtag.
Not to call anyone out.
Oh, no, I'm not calling anybody out, because for some people that's what they love to do, and they have relations that are not, in the country or whatever, and it's their way of, showing their relations, their kids and blah, blah, blah. And I totally get that. But for me, I just feel like, well, you guys are all on social media, so it's if you want to post something about something, then you'd do it yourself. And I guess, as much as I'm out there as far as performing and laying my life bare in song, I'm actually quite a private person too, so I don't generally put up a lot of private stuff. I tend to keep it for my music and my whatever I'm doing in that creative space. That's what I use my social media for.
I found that as soon as I got all the media stuff running, I wasn't posting anything personal anymore, because everything I was doing was just going into the media stuff. Yeah. So I guess that'd be the same with you.
Yeah, it is. And look, social media for that kind of thing is it's an incredible tool, really. Like I was looking at my on my Spotify, the artist page, and also on Apple Play, the artist page. And it's just incredible, the amount of people in America and Japan and all over the place. Yeah.
Right away.
It's amazing who's playing my stuff and on a regular basis. And it's like, wow, there was no way back when I was your age that my stuff would reach there,
Yeah.
I don't even know how you'd do that unless you had a record deal. So, I think more and more we're seeing these days that you don't particularly need a record deal unless you are wanting that full-on global backing. But gee, you pay through the bum for it,
Yeah.
Those people would be in debt to those record companies for a very long time, whereas I just get to save up and put something out there. And I've worked for it myself. I've done it. I'm not a slave to some company somewhere, Yeah. So it has its benefits for sure.
Okay. Well, speaking of your stuff, I have your first EP here, the Della Harris self-titled EP. That's probably not in focus. But when was this released? Was this 13, 14?
What are we now, 19? No, I think 15, maybe 2015.
2015,
I've forgotten.
okay.
I think it was
I've
about that.
too.
Yeah, it was a while ago now. So.
Okay. So this is a 6-track EP, which is on Spotify and iTunes.
And Apple.
How is your songwriting process, or sort of has your mindset changed since this EP, or what's?
I think so, yeah. And it's interesting.
How's it been from there?
Because I see a lot of indie artists, and I've loved watching the progress of, from their first CD to, 3 or 4 on. And I feel like, already I know my next EP, well, I'm actually working towards an album, but I know the album will be, just different. Like you will really be able to see the growth, I think, that one, it was like, okay, I've got these 6 songs together. I'm going to put out an EP because, I want something that I'll be able to sell at gigs, and you get people coming up saying, have you got a CD? Blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to put something out, but, I can't even listen to it these days, which is sad. Look, they're great songs, but I just think I would have done it a little differently. But,
Well,
it is what it is. It's where I started, and it's a journey. So
if you tried to be perfect about it, it would never have gotten released.
And that's it. So and you're just learning all the time. I mean, just the whole process of doing an EP and how to do it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's been a real learning curve. So how many? I've got about 1, 2, 3, about 5 songs already recorded for the next album.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
I've noticed you and Rob have had a lot of writing sessions, and you've been off to recording. So are there any sneak peeks of information of future content coming out?
I mean, that the last 3 singles I've had obviously haven't been on that EP, so they'll go.
Okay,
they'll
so
go
they're
on
all
to,
going on the album.
Yeah, so there's 3 already, and I've just finished another 2, which they're in their final mixing stages. So just putting the final tweaks on another 2 at the moment.
Okay.
And so I hope to probably bring out a 10 song album, 8 to 10 songs.
Okay. Do you reckon you're going to do more singles before that, or is the next big release the album?
No, I'm going to do a couple more singles. And the album, at this stage, I'm looking at not Tamworth coming up in January, but the following, maybe doing a big launch up there. So I'll release a few more singles because also Spotify's a funny thing. And Spotify has been great to me. So, Spotify picked up one of my songs, Long As You're Lonely, and popped it on their Fresh Country playlist. And that was so fantastic because, within months it had nearly 70,000 streams. So if you can get on one of the playlists, it's so amazing. But one thing with Spotify is they won't put a song on their playlist if it's been on Spotify for a certain amount of time.
Really?
So,
yeah, okay.
And I can't think how long that is. So if I was to put an album up now, and release a couple of singles from it, they wouldn't put the songs on a playlist if they've been sitting there on an album for a while. They want fresh, obviously new content.
They're very curated, yeah. And that's the thing with stuff like Spotify and say YouTube and stuff these days. It's so personalized to the individual. So you'd be, but that, I guess that's a good thing as well, because you'd be reaching people who do like country music and get around country music.
Absolutely. Yeah. So fresh country, I'm sure that's how I ended up getting, fans all over the globe, through that playlist. It was incredible. So I'm hoping to get more on that playlist. But like I said, it can't be on Spotify for a long time before they pick it up. They won't pick it up. It's got to be something that's new out. So, which is why a lot of people are just popping singles up there rather than having an album sitting there. They just put singles on.
Yeah, I have noticed that. A lot more artists are doing a lot more singles nowadays.
Yeah. Well, because you can, So it's all different. It used to be where you would just bring out an album, and but it's all very different. You can just keep releasing singles now, and I'd rather just get all my singles out there and then, present an album.
Okay.
So, or present the album and maybe release one more off it, because that gets more of a chance of getting on a playlist. But yeah, once that album's on there, those songs, they won't generally get picked up after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so completely different ball game compared to the process that you would have gone through if you started writing back in the day.
Absolutely. Earlier. It's all very different, but so much easier, I guess, to get it out there these days than back then. I mean, back when I was your age, I keep saying that like I'm this old fossil, because I am.
Well, you're not.
No, but you were relying on getting a record deal, because that was pretty much the only way that you would get out there. You had to have a record deal to actually get noticed at all. Whereas now, you just have all this social media stuff. So as much as I hate all that stuff at times, it makes everything so much more accessible, if you can get it into the right, get to the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You don't need to know anyone. You don't need to have tons of money. Just, you can get on the map just if you make good stuff nowadays.
And that's it, I mean, you have to get on there, and you still have to work hard on there.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's doable on your own rather than, having to have this big backing, So, it's a great way to get noticed. So if you use it in the right way, it's a great tool, great business tool.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for chatting to me this morning, Mum. I was wondering if you had any advice to young creatives out there who know they want to do stuff but they haven't really taken action, or just, what would you say to them? Or even yourself?
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself if you could talk to your 20-year-old self?
What would I say? Be brave. Just be brave, because it's scary and life is hard. So, crap stuff is going to happen on a continual basis. But I guess it's how you deal with it and how you make your life a great life. You have to just kind of get out there and just give it a go. And I guess not be so concerned about what people think about you, because that's one thing I've realised as you get older. It just so doesn't matter, and who cares? I actually find it kind of funny now, that
after I made you follow Gary V on Instagram.
No. I will listen to him more one day, but at the moment I tend to go, Flick. It's like, oh, it's him again. Flick.
Yeah, there you go.
He's very in your face. But no, I guess just be brave and just give it a go. And, if it doesn't work out in a particular way, it's because it wasn't meant to. And it'll work out in a different way, or, I guess just not be... I spent a lot of time being a bit of a scaredy cat and trying to please people and I guess, just being worried about, what people would think. I mean, I was brought up in a time where it was like, well, you doing anything like this, well, you're just being a show off or, and that's not a real job. You need to get a real job and that sort of attitude. And I think, if you can push past that and just, just be brave. That's probably what I would tell myself. But by the same token, I think, I wasn't ready for that journey then. And I feel like I'm ready for it now. And that's the thing too. You may not be quite ready for what the world has to offer you.
Yeah, right.
And you have to kind of go with that too sometimes. But all in its own good time.
Yeah. Jump off that cliff.
Whoop, whoop.
Jump off that cliff. I also know that's very good. Well, yeah, thanks for tuning in, fellas, to the first episode of the Creative Escapade podcast. I hope it was good.
I'm sure he'll get more interesting people than his mum.
No. You're a perfect first guest, and I mean you're on this journey yourself that you've made for yourself, and you've really worked hard to be at a place that you want to be. That what used to be a dream, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. At least I won't go to my grave thinking I didn't even give it a shot, which I think was probably the thing as I was getting older that was in the back of my mind. It's like, I've just got to do this. I don't want to end up and I think I was you can ask your father. I was quite miserable, I think, because I wasn't being my authentic self. It was just a piece of my life puzzle that was missing that I needed to just get on with. So, I do feel a lot more complete and just more content in myself, obviously, for doing it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that wraps it up nicely. Hope you all have a good day.
Bye. Love you, darling. Hashtag proud.
Say it to them, not me.
Hashtag proud of this
dude. She's never said hashtag before. She's just bringing it out now. I don't know what's going on.
I'm trying to be hip and cool and young.
Oh, you know my demographic. All right. Bye.
Bye.